I was browsing YouTube and the video from Schwingy was recommended to me, a channel I wasn't aware of. He did a Stormcall Inquisitor 0 to hero video, in SSF by the way, and the way he got to that decision was not making a decision at all because he let the Wheel of Fortune decide. I later learned this wheel existed for a long time, I've just never seen it. I very much liked this idea, I very much liked his video, I linked it in the description, so check it out and subscribe if you enjoyed it. You can also subscribe to my channel of course, I would appreciate that. And with that said, I guess you can tell what comes next. Rather than looking in the description of Schwingy's video, which I should have done, I googled for the wheel and I think as a result my Wheel of Fortune is 3 years old. But hey, it's fine, there are many skills I have never played, it doesn't really matter, there's not some newer skills on here. The wheel at first tells me summon skeletons, which just isn't happening. My main character is an SRS Guardian, which is way too similar to summon skeletons. The second spin though, Fireball. I am for now not spinning a second wheel picking my Ascendancy class. Maybe that is the way to go. Maybe that is what you're supposed to do here. But I'm gonna pick my own Ascendancy at least for the first run. Maybe later I will spin both wheels. I do a little bit of wiki research on Fireball. I create a small loot filter which ensures only usable gear drops from me. Further tweaking if necessary I will do down the line. It's time to join my own SSF private league once more with the witch, Thyworm. I load the loot filter, I realize I have auto equip not selected so I can't kill this zombie. We're off to a great start here. Fortunately, I already have my skill, which I will be using for the rest of the series. I haven't really set any goals to be honest, I'll see where I end up. First, this part of the Fireball I know very well. I look for movement speed boots in town, but no luck. I type fire in the skill tree to see where I want the path towards. Here is the proof it's a fresh league, the stash is empty. I equip a magic helm, I tend to loot these corpses at the start for wisdom scrolls and then I enter the mudflats, the most dangerous zone of the game. Proven again by a rabbit Roaz that 3-shot me. I decided to pick some cast speed as the cast time feels quite long for this spell. I pick up a wisdom scroll, an iron ring and an orb of alteration. I go and kill Hillrake and he drops boots. The boots have movement speed which is nice. Time to turn in the quests. I get a quicksilver flask and elemental proliferation. I check the wands from the vendor and there is a +1 level to all fire skills wand. That's pretty good. I can't use it yet but soon I will. I sell an iron ring plus a raised zombie gem for a sapphire ring. This will give me some cold resistance for the boss fight to come. I receive flame wall and frost blink as well as a quest reward. Here you can see those skills in effect and it works quite well. The Dweller of the Deep takes quite a bit of time to kill, but I managed to do it. The essences he drops are always useful. I equip my new wand. I find my first 3 link and this allows me to combine firewall, elemental proliferation and arcane surge. I also equip a new chain belt. As I reach level 8, I can now also equip my new helm and the sapphire ring. Here you see the build in action and it actually works quite well. I get combustion support from a quest reward. I link the fireball to elemental proliferation and combustion, so that is my new 3 link. In the Atlas tree I will take Firewalker. Mercenaries at this point are primarily killed for their loot, especially their currency is good early on. It is time to kill Brutus, who goes down very quickly. This is a super smooth fight. As quest rewards I take Clarity and Flame Dash. I trade Defender for yet another Sapphire ring and I use an essence to make it rare. I get myself very nice rare gloves and I decide to make my way to Elemental Overload. First however I take Practical Application because I need the resistances and the extra strength and dexterity is also nice to have. I have a very close encounter with a mercenary but he rewards me with a chance orb. I just wanted to show you how many quicksilver flasks this vendor is actually selling right now. I'm not sure I've ever seen this before. Another mercenary, another alteration orb, and the next mercenary drops a very nice amulet. Then it is time for the boss, which is an easy fight because I have 2 sapphire rings, providing me with a lot of cold resistance. I make it to Act 2, I know it's a big achievement. Fireball so far does well. As I still have only 1 quicksilver flask, I decided to do the den. I kill the great white beast, I pick up more essences as I go, I find a new great lapis amulet, I get elemental overload and back in town for the quest rewards I am a little indecisive on which buff to take. I am not 100% convinced that any of these heralds actually work well with Fireball. For example, if I shatter enemies with Herald of Ice, is that interfering with my elemental proliferation? I'm just not sure, and I can't figure it out from the wiki either. So I decided to go for the safe option, which is Arctic Armor, preventing me from getting frozen. I buy a 3-link chest and I put an essence on it to make it rare. This will allow me later down the line to equip the shield, because in my offhand wand I am still using the 3 blue links, which prevents me from equipping a shield because my main hand wand still has the +1 level to all fire skills, which I don't want to lose. I also get my second Quicksilver flask. The next mercenary I encounter has a Tear of Purity. This is a great amulet, amazing for low level characters. So I kill him and this amulet gives me Purity of Elements level 10. That also means I no longer have need for Arctic Armor, as I am now ailment immune. I kill Caitlyn, I identify new boots, but I can't wear them yet. I almost die in a fight with a mercenary. And what do you know, the next mercenary has a Tabula Rasa. But for some reason I completely missed that and decide to go for the movement speed boots instead. You may think I'm an ethical gamer, but let me assure you, I'm not. As I reach level 18, I can do a bit of gear swap, meaning I now have 3 links in my chest armor, I have a shield equipped and the +1 wand is still there. It is time to kill Oak, and as you can see, the fight is again quite smooth. After that it is Alira's turn and also she dies, meaning I will get +1 passive point. I get a new helmet, a torture case with very decent stats. I reached a fire cluster and I'm contemplating which routes to go, whether I want to go the hit-based route or the ignite-based route, but I can't make up my mind just yet. I start running Vaal side areas in the hopes of finding Vaal Fireball. I get a new ring from a mercenary, complete the Heart of Flame notable, and then it's time to kill the Vaal Oversoul with my new merc, who will soon start dying in every single zone. Mercenaries continue to be useful, and this one drops 3 chance orb, which will come in handy when buying gems later. Piety goes down for the first time, while you see the issue with mercenaries. They keep dying all the time in early campaign. I complete Breath of Flames, get an Orb of Binding, which is useful as I don't have a 4-link yet. I take the Flammability Curse, lowering enemy fire resistances, buy myself a White Iron Circlet, use the Binding Orb on it, and there is my 4-link. I make the decision to go Ignite, pick myself up some Ignite and damage over time support gems, buy a Malevolence, and my 4-link is now Fireball, Elemental Proliferation, Unbound Ailments, and Combustion. I find another 4-link and I put my Flame Dash in there. Graficius goes down easily with the help of a shrine. I get a new shield with spell damage from a mercenary. Piety goes down for a second time, and here you can see the boss damage with both hits and ignite. It's still decent on a 4-link. I hire a merc that provides determination and vitality, and then it's time for Dominus, as I talk a bit about the build so far. Fireball as a skill seems to do okay in terms of base damage. The Ignite and especially the Proliferation is a nice quality of life feature and in maps will be incredibly useful. I'm also quite tanky, I have died only once, and the main issue I think with the build so far is that I have to aim the Fireball quite carefully. As the hit of the Fireball determines the Ignite strength, I felt taking less damage for these hits would be detrimental to the Ignite damage. I will learn later this seems to not matter much at all. Another thing you may notice is that I don't have 100% chance to ignite, which of course doesn't help for an ignite build, but I figure that the Elementalist Ascendancy Shaper of Flames will fix that a little later down the line, which it will. With all that said, Dominus bites the dust and it's time for Act 4. I haven't talked about defenses much, but I'm already res capped in Act 4, which feels pretty good. That plus around 1000 combined health and energy shield makes me feel quite tanky, plus the buffs of the merc help out too. I get a new shield for more spell damage, although spell damage doesn't scale Ignite. I also take a look at Ignite on the wiki at this point, which is actually quite a helpful page. It's time for the first lab, so I go to the town only to realize I missed one trial. After a quick fix, I can enter the lab, which doesn't pose much of an issue. Izaro damage isn't amazing as you can tell, but at no point am I worried about the run. I managed to kill him, get a random transfigured gem and ascend to an Elementalist. The first node will be golems, which are apparently really strong this patch, so I am eager to try that out. I don't have access to golems yet though in the campaign. The next mercenary I find offers again a tabula rasa, and this time I actually noticed the damn thing, so after an intense fight I now have a 6-link. In Act 4, that's not bad at all. I decide to link Fireball to Unbound Ailments, Elemental Proliferation, Deadly Ailments, Cruelty and Efficacy. I'm not sure this is optimal, but this is what I'm going for right now. You can see the Ignite damage, which is optimal enough for me at this stage. What is not so optimal is getting executed by a squad of archers for my second death of the campaign. It's just a flesh wound, however, Daressa goes down and I can finally pick up some golems. I decide to go for Ice, Chaos, Stone and Fire. I need Strength, however, which I don't have. For some weird reason, every single suffix on my gear is full, so I get creative and use a Chaos Orb on a rare ring until I either hit Strength or an open suffix to craft Strength. The latter happens, meaning I craft Strength, and now I'm at least able to summon all 4 golems. This is a big boost in stats and the power spike is massive. I find a new ring with a bunch of attributes on it, which I'm going to need for sure. Twice, in fact, as the new mercenary also drops something very similar. And it's time for Malachi, and while the damage isn't all that consistent because I still miss projectiles and I don't have 100% ignite chance, for the most part this fight goes quite smoothly. It's time for Act 5, where I will hire an Eruptor. He provides determination, which is nice, and is also fire-based, so that works well with the theme, I feel. I do value that sort of thing, especially in runs like these, that the theme makes some sense. Fire, in this case. Overseer Crow goes down and I decide to try out the greater multiple projectiles that I looted from before, and this is something I should have done much earlier. It is a massive difference, and the less damage per projectile doesn't seem to matter at all. For single target, I swap to Combustion, which is completely fine, so I do a bit of gem swapping here. And then my PC ran out of disk space to record without me realizing it, meaning I completed the rest of Act 5, including Kitava, but I didn't record it. But it went well, guys, you know, 0 deaths, Kitava is dead, I don't think much else to worry about. Apologies for that, but let's dive into the next couple of acts. In case you're wondering about how I make a passive tree choice, I just type fire and overtime, and then I path there. I also know this area of the tree pretty well. I take down Tukahama and do some expedition. This build looks like it can be pretty decent at expedition, so maybe I will invest in that first. The ignites are spreading across all enemies, and as long as they're not immune to ailments or fire damage, I should be good to go. I kill Chevron and Brutus, or whatever they're turning into. I encounter a mercenary with a good damage over time multiplier wand, which I would expect is better than +1. I'll figure all of this stuff out much later, usually. For now, it looks good to me, so I'll take it. Rislatha falls, I do as well, too, I think, ground AoE that is barely visible, and then here is some Brine King footage, so you have an idea of the damage. I'm quite happy so far with how this skill is doing. I thought it would be a lot worse, but so far it's fine. It's pretty consistent too with the ignites, I like that. I get some new boots, I was still wearing magic ones, I fixed resistances again on my gear. I decided to go for Arcanist brand in a 4-link linked to Flame Wall, Flammability and Arcane Surge. I also link Flame Dash with faster casting for some quality of life. I decide against using Shield Charge to preserve some sockets. I don't mind a bit of a slower pace, it fits waiting for the mobs to burn and die. A mercenary drops Wake of Destruction, which I give to my mercenary. Maligaro has revealed his latest art piece, but it couldn't save him. A mercenary drops an Alberon's Warpath, which is actually an upgrade for me in terms of movement speed and chaos resistance. New Merc, new unique. This is a Worm's Mold for my own mercenary. Another random death right there. Not sure what happened. It's time for Arakali, who goes down slowly but surely, and that means it is time for the next act. I take some Pantheon powers, Brine King against Stun and Dralakesh against Bleed. I upgrade that 4-link of before, taking out Arcane Surge and putting in Wave of Conviction for fire exposure. That seems like a good idea and it synergizes also with the passive tree. I craft some cast speed on my wand, because cast speed is quality of life. I fight Doedri, who is an easy fight at this point, and the same goes for Tolman. I find a new shield from a mercenary with spell damage and resist is pretty decent. Lunaris and Solaris burn to ashes. I encounter some betrayal guys, but I'm unsure if I'm going to spec into this run. Their gear is very good though early on, as you can see over here. This is a great ring, and I'm almost at the end of the campaign. Before I do Kitava, however, I like doing the second and third lab, so my resistances are still okay and not -30. Both labs I finish without any issues. In the second lab I take Shaper of Flames, so from now on I have a guaranteed guaranteed ignite, and enemies deal physical damage as fire if they're hit. The third lab, I decided to go with Bastion of Elements for some defenses while mapping. I think that is the smart choice for now. I can always spend some gold to respec if I want to. In my hideout, I do the final enchantments, getting some defenses, life resistances, just to make sure I am still res capped after killing Kitava. And then it is time to fight Kitava, and this time I did record it. And while you're watching this fight, it's another good opportunity to talk a bit about the build, or mainly about some of the things that I'm thinking about currently at this point in the run. I feel I have a few choices to make, or rather I have some options to consider. In no particular order, here they are. First, do I go Chaos Inoculation? I think for now that is not the plan. My golems give a ton of chaos resistance, so getting capped shouldn't be that difficult, so I don't really see that much of an upside. Second, do I go low life? I just didn't see that many reasons to go low life, so no, for now, no. Third, do I go pure energy shield, evasion energy shield, which means going for suppression and the right side of the tree, or armor energy shield, which could mean max resistances and block on the left side of the tree. Because of the support gems and skills that I'm using, which primarily require strength and intelligence, I decide I will go armor and energy shield. I don't know if I'll be able to put in a bunch of block chance, maybe that can happen. Other defensive options are life regeneration, which the golems provide as well, or maximum resistances, or maybe a combination of these. I think they're all viable. Spell suppression, however, will not happen on this build. And with that, we're at the end of the first episode. I'm having a great time with this, as this is exactly how I like to approach the game, which is mostly in-game, not in PoE, and playing a skill from the start to see how it progresses, rather than swapping to a build later on, like I did in my last series. I really don't have the brains for that and sort of the PoE skills to figure everything out before a swap, so I need to see in-game what happens, and a run like this is perfect for that. I'm gonna do some maps, take it easy, see how far I can get. There will be at least one more episode because I'm just having a great time with this. So thanks for making it to the end of this one. Don't forget to subscribe, like and ring the bell so you don't miss the next episode. Love you all. See you soon. Bye bye.